I know I love it.
Ready?
Yeah.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. And we thought it would be fun to do kind of a cool topic today because it's probably right around the time everyone is starting to give up on those New Year's resolution goals. So we wanted to hit February hard with just a reminder of why goals are important, a way of looking at them, a perception, and more of a motivation to say, keep on fighting. You know, you finished the first month strong. You probably came out of the new year with ambitions. You know, I know gym sales and memberships go crazy. A bunch of people want to, start a new diet or start working out, or maybe this is the year you're spending less money. Maybe this is the year you're investing more money or making that jump. And we just want to give you some motivation to stick with it and maybe some tips on how we stick with it.
Yeah, and we don't always stick with it. I don't want to act like that we always, write goals and we always achieve them and we always do everything we've lined out to do. This is an encouragement for us as well. Well,
mainly me and you, Brian's
yeah, Brian, he does a lot of.
Actually, I was thinking as we were preparing, I don't write my goals down. I need to be better at it myself. So
we're sitting here prepping the episode, thinking about how stupid we are. Like, damn it, we don't need to take our own advice.
Yeah,
we have though in the past. At least I have, and so hopefully we can motivate you guys today and talk about what worked for us and what's worked for a lot of other people on really changing their life through goal setting.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is the dream, right? Like, there's a lot of steps, but I think for a lot of us, we fail to write something down that's a bit ambitious. So I think my first tip is set something ambitious, sit down, talk with the important people in your life that can help and support and motivate you, and come up with something that you really want to do that you think is achievable and write it down.
Yeah. So do you guys write your goals down? Do you have goals set right now that are written down that you review?
I'm really bad about personal goals. Like last year, we had a personal goal to invest a certain amount of money, and we did good at that. But like personal goals to eat healthier or work out, I mean, obviously, I'm not killing it over here. But business goals, I'm way better about writing down.
Yeah, me too.
So like last year in Criterion and
goals.
the year before that, we had great Criterion acquisition goals, and we go out there and we break that down into, okay, this is this much a quarter or whatever, or this many meetings we have to have. But yeah, my personal goals are lacking, to be honest. I need to get better about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've got a few, but a lot of my major goals and what we want to focus on today is what I set back, a couple decades ago that really transformed the direction of my life. And so, some of those goals were, and the main driving goal, and let's get into the first point. For me, the main driving goal when I got a hold of goal setting was to retire early, quit the day job. Okay, that was my driving purpose.
It's kind of like a long-term.
Yeah, I had other goals, but that was the one that really directed my purpose. So the first thing we want to encourage you guys to do is you've got to decide on a purpose and have a vision. If you don't have that, you don't know where to go. You don't know what to be doing. And so think about, we're going to do some exercise today, but think about, exactly what you want to have in each area of your life. And that will help you start this goal setting process. So you can think about monetary goals. You can think about education goals, your family life, your physical fitness, health. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to begin to write those down. But the key will be, and we talked about this earlier, is idealizing your best life and allowing yourself to be free to think about what it is that you want out of this life. And I know we've talked about it before, but we're going to do it again because it's just so powerful. Most people don't ever allow themselves to ask what's possible and to allow themselves to have what they really want to have. And so during this process of setting your goals, it forces you to think, what do I want out of this life? Who do I want to be? What do I want to have? And if we can get you to do that, then your true self will come out and you'll get stuff on paper that will give you purpose, that will be your vision. But if you're just going to write, like, I want to work out more, that's not a driving life force. Like, what is the goal of my life for the next 10 years, the next 20 years, transforming me into somebody else? For me, I was working the day job, and I had never thought that there was a way out of that day job where I could have complete freedom over my time until this goal setting process happened and real estate presented itself. And so I'm not saying real estate has to be your avenue to get to whatever it is you're wanting. It may not even be retiring. But here's the thing, and I'm talking a lot, but I think it's 75% of Americans are unhappy at their job. And so I'll let you guys opine on why so many people are unhappy at the thing they do most in life.
There's a lot to unpack there, but I got to start with opine.
I'm sorry. Should I use a different word?
What's your opinion?
I there's a lot in there, and I think we've heard it put a lot of ways. The fancy gurus in the seminar say, find your why, find your who, and there's all these fancy things. But practically speaking, for me, it's kind of like a super long-term goal. What do I want to accomplish in my life, my working life? What do I want retirement to look like? Kind of super long-term. And then from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're breaking that down into, okay, by 10 years, I should relatively be at this level if I'm on track. And then you have these kind of spokes off the wheel. It seems like, okay, this supports my long-term life vision. That's a good goal. That gets me to where I'm going. So it seems like you're saying they're all kind of tying in, but we need to start with the big picture here. We need to know what we're working towards.
Yeah, I think
specifically for your question as to why people are unhappy at their jobs, I think people, they know they need to make money. They take, the first thing that comes along or maybe they only have 2 or 3 opportunities. They take it and they're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this for a little while. And then, but I'm going to keep looking, I want to do something else later on, but they just kind of fall into that trap of being comfortable. Now they have a bunch of bills. They're probably living paycheck to paycheck, which is very common. And they, they wake up and, 20 years later, they're in some job, or 10 years later in some job that they don't really enjoy.
No, I think you hit it on the head, because they didn't have goals that were defining their life and that decided their actions. Yeah, they end up, and so did I. Like, I graduated college with an engineering degree, and I didn't really have a purpose other than that. Like, I was just like, okay, I have this degree. Let's go get a job that pays me money. And that's what I did. I interviewed with a few different companies. I got 2 or 3 offers, and I blindly picked one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
It's almost like you went into uncharted territory past your goal. Your goal at the time was probably graduate college and get an engineering degree, right? Like, okay, don't get kicked out of school. Don't flunk out. Don't waste all of this opportunity. Get your degree. And then it was like, okay, I'm here. Now what?
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't set that broad vision enough. So it's, you just go get a job. You go get some cash flow. We all want cash flow. I mean, it's natural. You have to have it to feed yourself and drive a car. And the job is the easiest first thing to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people though don't have a goal besides, let's say, get a job, and so
or graduate college.
Yeah, they've got all this disposable income, but no purpose for it, and so they end up spending it on anything and everything that they need and want, because there's no purpose for the savings. There's no goal amount for the percentage of savings. There's no end goal for the savings. Like, I'm going to save. I'm 23. I'm going to save till I'm 65. That isn't meaningful for people. There's no use for that money. There's no real purpose. And I can always save more later. Once again, it's about, they're just kind of meandering.
Well, you know what their goal is? I want a new car, or I want a new house. That's their goal. And it's kind of in the back of their head. And then when the money comes along, that's what they do with it.
Well, and kind of going back to the beginning and my point about the personal goal I had, me and my wife had a goal to invest a certain amount of money last year. And it's because we sat down and created a long-term goal of how much money and cash flow do we want in retirement? What is that number? What return are we able to earn? And then we discounted that back to how much we need to invest, earning that to get this amount of money in 4 years.
Man, that's a really good example of a goal that you thought out. You were very specific about it. You had a defined purpose for it. And so, that's really good. I think that's when you set a goal, I think that's what you need to do. You got to be really specific. It's got to be measurable. And
I think that's the next. I think that's the next point. Is it's got to be ultra specific. I'm going to, if it's fitness, I'm going to work out at least 3 times a week for at least 60 minutes. Yeah. One of those workouts will be outside.
Not just I'm going to work more.
I'm going to gain this much weight by the end of March. I'm going to lose this much weight by the end of March. I'm going to start, and by the end of the year, I'm going to look or feel or weigh or measure this amount. And then you can break that up. You say, okay, if I need to lose or gain 10 pounds, for me, it's gaining. I've always had a problem gaining weight. A lot of people can't relate with that, but a lot of people can. So for me, it was always, man, how much weight can I gain? If I wanted to gain 30 pounds, you need to break that up. That's really hard to do.
Yeah. And at the same time, it needs to be attainable, right? I don't feel like you ought to go in and say, okay, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year. maybe it's 20 this year and 20 the next year or something like that. It also needs to be attainable so you feel like you were successful.
But our subconscious is going to make us right, and it's going to make us comfortable. So if you put, I want to work out more, you're going to sit your lazy tail end on the couch and watch Netflix and say, man, I worked out Sunday. I did work out more. I achieved my goal, right? Your subconscious wants to be right. You're going to justify what you did. So just write a harder, more specific goal so you can't negotiate your way out of it. Right. In my opinion.
That's a really good point. We were going to talk about that is as you go to write these goals in various areas of your life, or even when you go to idealize your perfect life or ideal life, you're going to have some self-conscious sabotage going on. And it's this weird thing that happens that says, it's deep within you, and there's these self-limiting beliefs. And so when you go to write that big, audacious goal, it's going to be like, yeah, that may be too big. And then you're also going to say, well, for some reason, there's going to be this self-conscious block against writing it down, because once you write it down, it's kind of like, well, I committed to that. And I don't know if I want to sign up for the work that's going to go in. And so maybe you guys can spot these sabotages when you're going through the exercise. Everything's going to try to keep you from deciding on your purpose and for writing these goals down and committing to them, because then you're on the hook. And it sucks when we fail. It sucks when we set a goal and then we don't do it. And then we're like, man, I failed again. I told all these people I was going to get in shape this year and I didn't do it. And so that's that. We do more to avoid pain than we do to gain pleasure. We've talked about that. And so guys, we want to encourage you, guys, girls, we want to encourage you. You've got to battle that self-conscious sabotage, and you have to allow yourself to commit. It's okay if you fail. I want you guys to hear that. It's okay if you fail. Write the goals down. Not writing them down is real failure. That's going to hurt. That's going to end up impacting your life long term, right? But allowing yourself to write them and saying, F it. I don't care if I fail. I'll write it down again next month. And I'll do something that gets me closer. And I don't care if I fail this year. I'll write it again next year. You have to keep getting after it, right? You're a pit bull. Nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah. Don't give up on them.
All right. Where are we at?
So let me give you an example of I said I'm not very good about writing them down and setting personal goals. I did write one down quite a few years ago, and that was that I wanted passive income. And another part of the goal was I wanted to replace my salary. So I had a specific amount, but what I didn't know What I didn't know was that it was only $20,000 a year, so it was pretty easy.
Okay.
What I didn't write down was how I was going to do it, because I really had no idea. And so, but once I think
a lot of people can relate with that.
Yeah. You have a goal, but maybe you don't know how to do it. But I'll tell you what happened was, because I set the goal, because I wrote it down, because it was very specific, opportunities started to come my way. Now, if I hadn't had that goal, I hadn't written it down, I wasn't concentrating on it, these opportunities might have just gone on by and I didn't even realize they were an opportunity. So, the first opportunity really was Joel coming along and talking about real estate.
I'm going to give Joel more credit.
Yeah, sorry. And so that really got me thinking. I was like, well, maybe this is an opportunity. And so I invested with Joel, and it kind of worked. And so I did more. But on top of that, other business opportunities came my way as well, because I was still thinking about more passive income. And again, I was having lunch with this guy, and I remember thinking, if I hadn't set this goal a few years ago, this lunch right now wouldn't have ended up with another business opportunity that I'm now invested in. I would have just talked to him. I said, oh yeah, well, maybe you can do this or that. But because it was my goal, we started talking, and we actually started a business together. So I think the goal setting, I guess I'm just trying to give an example of how it really worked for me.
So
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love that, but let's massage this into real estate a little bit more, and just the fact of people wanting to get involved in real estate. I think a lot of people listen to the podcast saying, I wanted to get into investing in commercial real estate. How do I do that? And I think for me, when we started Criterion, it was, let's get a deal. So we immediately started meeting with investors who would be interested in commercial real estate. We immediately started calling banks. Hey, if I found a deal, would you give me money? Just doing doing the work, putting myself in the situation, finding the growth inhibitors or finding the problems. I think a lot of the times we look up at this Mount Everest of our goal and think, how are we going to do it? So we don't even start. When in reality, if you just started walking forward, you'll probably figure it out. You'll probably figure out what the obstacles are, and you can figure out how to get over them when you get there. So I think just getting in the room, right? Like signing up for the email list. I literally have like 100 deals for sale, get emailed to my box every single day. I'm sure you guys are the exact same way. Get those emails sent into your box. Look at them. Send it to a bank. Talk to an investor. And then, like you said, these opportunities will start presenting itself, and it's only a matter of time before it comes to fruition. And then your next goal is, man, if I could do 2 of these this year,
right.
Oh my gosh, it would be amazing. And then before you know it, you're setting these ridiculously high goals because it's a snowball effect. It compounds like anything, not only the returns, but your effort and your energy. And you start to surround yourself with people doing similar things, and the opportunities become more and more and more.
Well, once you start achieving some goals, the confidence that you can achieve new goals just grows exponentially. So good point, Brian. Just as we talked about, we can have a self-conscious sabotage. Our self-conscious can also be a helper and a promoter of our goals, because once you write them down, you may not even know exactly how you're going to achieve it, but your subconscious goes to work. Your mind goes to work. It's a weird thing, but like you say, you start seeing opportunities because you wrote this goal down. Your brain knows, okay, I want to be looking for this. I want this. And so now that you've allowed yourself to say, I want this, it's a goal of mine, I'm going to make it happen, you'll be surprised how the ways in which you can achieve that goal will start to materialize. The more you focus on it, the faster the resources will come into your life, and you'll be able to move toward progress on that goal.
Yeah. The perfect example, just to envision in your head, is everyone's bought a car, right? You go car shopping, you start looking at cars, you narrow it down to a few models. You start seeing those things on the highway and around town all the time. You start looking at Ford F-150s, and then you're like, man, there's a lot of Ford F-150s. Any model of car, like a 5 Series BMW. If you start looking at 5 Series BMWs, you're going to see half a dozen a day that you wouldn't have even seen. Yeah. Same thing with house searching. If you and your partner are going house searching, you're looking at buying your first house, you're going to drive through a neighborhood and just be like, ooh, that's cute. Oh, I love the way that's laid out. Oh, I love this kitchen.
It's on your mind.
You're just going to be thinking about it. You're just going to be in that realm. I had this conversation with my wife the other day about furniture. I'm like, babe, bought this house 6 months ago. We need some furniture. It's time. We have to buy a dining room table. The room can't sit empty forever. And last night she was literally just scrolling. And she has no idea because she's worried about the decor of the room. I'm like, babe, all of that comes after you pick out the table. Like, you got to start somewhere. You just, at the end of the day, you just got to buy a table. At the end of the day, you just have to jump in the water and start. Just do it.
So we've got them writing these goals down, and we've tried to convince them that they're going to ignore failure and self-sabotage. They're going to allow their self-conscious to work for them. But the reality is it's going to take a lot of hard work. You're going to have to work your ass off. And so, but here's the thing. Here's the great thing about working your ass off towards a purpose or a vision is that job you don't like, that's work. Doing stuff around the house might be work for you. But once you find your vision and once you have a purpose and you can see every action you're taking is going to move you toward that thing at which you've set your sights on, that's less work than these other things. And so you will enjoy the journey more if you'll get your goals down, because then every action you take that you may in your mind at the beginning think is miserable, now you can see as this is a means to attain what I want in this life. It's kind of like working out. I mean, working out, for at least muscle definition, you have to go through some pain at the end of those sets, maybe another set. But for me, I don't really care about that part, because I know that pain equals, progress towards my goal or my ideal, physique or staying in shape or whatever it is.
No pain, no gain.
There you go.
Yeah, Braden, he hadn't done a lot of that, but maybe we'll get him into it.
I'm getting some gray hair, man. I'm going through mental pain.
So, we want to encourage you to enjoy the journey, but in reality, you will enjoy some of these activities. For me, when I first started and I got a hold of what was now my life purpose, was to retire early, retire at 35 or whatever it was, be able to quit the day job and have time freedom. I just kept visualizing not having to go to the office, visualizing vacationing till I hate it. These were the things that got me so excited. So when I was driving neighborhoods looking for houses, when I was combing the ads in the newspaper looking for deals, like for me, I was excited. I couldn't wait to get into my car and listen to more education on real estate and finance and, personal financial statements and reading business plans. Like for me, I was so excited to do that. But most people are like, oh, that sucks. I want to listen to music. For me, no, there was nothing else I would have rather done. I was so excited at lunch hour. I was so excited for long drives because, man, I was learning. And, you can think about this is that you can't achieve more than you are today. You can't have more than you are today without some increase in your knowledge and experience. Otherwise, you would have already obtained it. And so then you'll get excited about getting experience. You'll get excited about knowledge, reading, education, because those things are going to result in you furthering towards your goals.
Yeah.
So
well said.
I have a last point that I think is really important, and I think it kind of relates to telling people your goals and not being afraid to talk about them. I would highly recommend and encourage that you surround yourself with a circle of influence of some people. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying if you're around like 7-9 people, just a couple, like 1 to 3 that have achieved some of your goals. Go talk to them about it. Say, hey, I've got this goal to lose weight or start working out. I see you're buff. Like, what's the gig?
Yeah.
How do you wake up at 5? I hate my life before 10 a.m. How do you do it? What protein are you on, man? Or something. Or maybe it's, like the Pursuit of Happiness movie. He sees this guy driving this ridiculous car and he goes up to him and he's like, bro, what do you do? Yeah. And he goes up and applies for the job. You need to do that, but do it to somebody who's achieved that or is working towards the common goal. Right? Like, don't go tell your loser friend who doesn't do anything that you want to go do something crazy because you know what he's going to say. That's crazy. You shouldn't do it. Go tell somebody who's going to say, that's awesome. Yeah, I've done that. Oh, I can connect you with the person. Right? Like we have goals of stuff that we've never done. So we are trying to surround ourselves with people who have done that. We broke into retail development by surrounding ourselves with partners that have done tons of retail development. That brought comfort to us and our investors. Right. So don't be afraid to surround yourself with a group of people who've accomplished those goals and talk to them about it. Get encouragement, get motivation, ask them for help. You're not the first person to set that goal. I promise.
No, that's great advice. I want to tell you one last thing, because I know one of the big struggles for people is that they don't have time. And so I just want to encourage you as we sign off today. We've talked about setting that vision and getting excited about it and all the things that we've discussed today. But at the end of the day, you're going to say, I don't have time. And the thing is, you absolutely have time for the things that are most important for you. And if you'll examine your day and you'll just set a goal, I always use this to underachieve. What could you set aside in a perfect world today without changing your lifestyle, not reducing your Netflix binges and time with kids and games and whatever you're doing? Could you give half an hour? Could you give an hour? You can change your life with 1 hour a day. Sure. And the thing is, you most likely have 3 hours a day, easily 3 hours a day to be reading, to be meeting with people, to be, educating yourself on whatever it is that's going to help you achieve those goals. That was my big thing. Is that's what I spent. Is my evenings were not spent at bars when I was in my 20s, or doing any of that stuff. It was just reading books at night and writing notes and getting excited about what this life held for me. Because before I knew nothing about that, and I was going to work till I was 65, and it was a little bit depressing until now. I had a goal. I had a vision. I could retire early, and I was going to get it no matter what it took. And so then I was excited every night, reading those books, talking to people, setting up meetings. And I want to encourage you guys to do that too. You have enough time. Let's do it.
Yeah. Anyway, push through February. You got this. We'll catch you guys next week on how to invest in commercial real estate.